If you've been wanting to learn how to sew, I have the perfect first project for you, and we will walk through what to put in your sewing kit just to get you started and how to hand sew. So consider this video the first in a series of sewing for beginners, how to make it good enough for now. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I love to sew and make lots and lots and lots of different kinds of things. So I am not afraid of picking up a new hobby or a new project and just going for it. But I know a lot of people are not like me, so I'm here to show you that this, especially sewing, does not have to be intimidating and it does not have to be overly difficult. And you also don't need to invest a lot of money or a lot of resources into getting started. I am also not a perfectionist. This is not the channel for aesthetics. If you're looking for crisp and clean and beautiful ambiance, this is not the place. But hopefully that makes it a little bit more relatable to the other trash goblins out there that just can't get rid of anything. I love sewing. I want you to love sewing. Let's talk about what to put in your sewing kit so that you can get started. Now, I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible, and hopefully you have some of this stuff in your house already. Every single thing that I show you is upgradable to something more fancy, but we don't need to worry about fancy right now. We just want to get started because we're bored and we don't need to watch all of TikTok or find the end of Instagram. So in your very beginner, I don't know what I'm doing sewing kit, here are the things you're going to need. A pair of scissors that will cut through fabric. These could be out of your junk drawer, they could be from your kid's school bag, doesn't matter. As long as they will cut through fabric, they're good enough for now. You are also going to need some thread. Any thread will do. Just make sure that it doesn't break like wet tissue. That's really the only factor right now. So just grab a spool of thread if you can find it. Cotton, polyester, does not matter. I'm not even worried about coordinating my thread with my fabric right now. We just want to get started. You're also going to need some sort of measuring something. A measuring tape is perfect because it can fold up and fit into any small sewing kit, but if you just have a ruler, that's also fine too. And then you're going to need pins and needles, and yes, those are different. Pins hold stuff together. Needles have a hole in them called the eye, and that's what you use to sew. Finally, for this project, you're going to need some sort of cotton fabric. This could be an old t-shirt, it could be an old pillowcase. I would just recommend that it is cotton and not polyester because we're going to microwave it at the end. Trust me, it's not as scary as it seems, but I think cotton does better in the microwave than polyester does. You'll see here that the needles that I'm using are labeled for embroidery. Different needles have different purposes and different jobs, but if you're just getting started, we don't care about what their jobs are. We just want to get started. Yeah, these are for embroidery. You know what? I can still hand sew 2 pieces of cotton together with them. When you get a little bit more confident in your sewing abilities, you can use different types of hand sewing needles. Right now, does not matter. And for this project, I am using just a scrap piece of jersey fabric with really cool little Highland cows on it, but really just about any piece of cotton will work. And I also picked up perhaps the most clashy thread I could find because I want you to be able to see it. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter what your thread choice is when you're getting started. As long as things stay together, you win. You have won the day. So let's get started with assembly, and I will talk you through the small steps that you may not be aware of. Using your chosen measuring device, cut a rectangle that is about 12 inches by 6 inches. This does not have to be precise. We are going for good enough for this particular project. You can clean up the edges if you need to, but we are just going for 12-ish by 6-ish inches. This fabric has a right side and a wrong side. The right side is the cow side. So I'm going to fold my rectangle in half, right sides together, and I'm going to pin around the perimeter. Remember, we're using pins, not needles here. You can clean up any crooked edges you want to at this point, but don't feel like you have to get too precise about it. Just match up the sides and it'll be fine. Now I want you to draw a line about 1/2 inch down from each edge. This is your stitching guideline and just helps you learn to stitch in a straight line. I like using these heat erasable friction pens because generally they go away when you iron them, but you can use anything you want. And then I also want you to mark about a 2-inch space with X's and the word no, because we are going to skip over that when we're stitching. That way we can turn it right side out and go with the next step. We need to thread our needle. Nice thing about embroidery needles is that they have kind of bigger eyes, so they're easier to thread. Cut a piece of thread that is about 24 inches long. Make sure it's got a clean cut. We don't want any fuzzy edges. And then using all of the patience in your entire being, you're going to send that thread through the eye of the needle. This part is annoying. It can be fiddly, but you can do it. I promise. Once you have your needle threaded, line up the ends and you're going to put a simple knot at the end of the two threads, just like this. A single knot will do just fine. Now comes the fun part. Along our guideline, you are going to take your needle up from the quote-unquote back of the fabric through both layers to the front. Pull gently, but if you pull too hard, that knot is going to come through. Don't do that. One way that I anchor my starting stitch is to bring it up through both layers and take the needle back down directly next to my knot. When I do that a couple of times, it's going to secure my thread and it's not going to pull out. The other option is to lift that knot a little bit off of your fabric and take your needle between the two threads. You're almost creating a lasso of sorts, I guess. And when you do that, it becomes nice and secure and you don't have to worry about your threads pulling out. So the first stitch I'm going to show you is a running stitch. And all this is taking the thread up through the back and down through the front multiple times. I don't like to turn my fabric around, so I just bunch it up like this on the needle. And yeah, it gets kind of hard to push the needle through sometimes. It just goes faster. I like it better. When you have 2 or 3 running stitches, you want to add a back stitch. And this is just where you basically follow Paula Abdul's advice and 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You're going to move the needle back 1 stitch and just do a couple more running stitches. Running stitches will keep your clothing and garments and things together, but adding that back stitch adds stability and it adds strength, which means that whatever you're making is going to stay together even longer. There have been projects where I've had to remove my own hand stitching, and sometimes it's more difficult than taking out machine stitches. From this point, you're going to sew along your guidelines. You're going to skip over that 2-inch space that we left ourselves, and you're going to go all the way around. You do not have to sew up the folded side, though. If you run out of space on your needle and thread, all you're going to do is a couple of stationary stitches, which is just running stitches in the same place. Do that a couple of times, send the thread and needle through some of those loops, pull it a little taut, and that's not going to come out. Trim the thread, rethread the needle, and now you can start with the next few stitches. We are about 25, maybe 30 minutes later, and we are all sewn up. It is not neat, it is not tidy, but it's also not going anywhere. Here's why we had to leave a little hole at the top, because we need to turn it right side out. But before we do that, see my little corners here? I'm going to snip my corners. It just creates less bulk when you turn it right side out, so that if you're hand sewing or if you're machine sewing, you don't have to sew through as many layers. So I'm not trimming my stitch. I'm just trimming the corners. I can do the same down here if I want to, but it's less of a problem down there than it is at the top. Now that my corners are trimmed, let's turn this right side out, and then we're going to repeat the process before we fill it. I will say that the thicker your fabric is, the harder it's going to be to turn this. Part of the reason why I like using t-shirts to try this out first. But if you leave a little bit bigger opening, then turning it will be fine for the most part. I just don't want you to get too frustrated right off the bat. We get our corners poked, and then what we're going to do is we are going to draw another border around it, maybe 1 centimeter, half a centimeter from the edge, because we want to hand sew that down as well. I just pinned it so you can kind of see. We're going to pin and then hand stitch about half a centimeter, half an inch-ish, whichever you like better, all the way around the border. What that does is it helps to reinforce the stitching that we've got. It gives it a little bit of a decorative or at least more finished appearance. But when we do that all the way around, make sure to leave the top open. Don't hand stitch this closed just yet because we have to fill this up before we do that. So we'll repeat the process. We will make the marks, hand stitch it all the way around, and then we will fill it. And then we'll close it and then it'll be done. You can double up your thread anytime you want to. You can also just do the same techniques and use one thread at a time. So all that means is that your stitches just look a little lighter. I prefer that. I feel like I can get the stitches a little closer together. They don't feel as bulky. So if you are brand new to sewing, what is like your dream project? What is the thing that you would love to learn how to make? I've started working with a couple of teenagers in a like fashion and design club capacity. They want to make their prom outfits. And some of these kids have never sewn before ever. I am all about this. I am all for trying to help them learn enough so that they can make their prom outfits. If it doesn't turn out, then they can buy one. They were gonna buy one anyway. So I've been trying to figure out what skills they need to know in order to make things like skirts and bodices. Because honestly, once you learn the skills, they apply to just about any project. For instance, in doing this kind of edge here, if you did this on a piece of clothing, almost in reverse, where you go backside to backside and then you flip it and you go front side to front side, that's called a French seam. We're just basically doing an exposed French seam on this. So what is it you would love to learn how to make? What is your big wish? I still want to make more tops. I feel like I make a lot of pants, and I really like making pants, and I make a lot of jackets. I don't know why, but jackets seem less intimidating than blouses and tops. So I'm working on how to make more tops this year. That's going to be one of my goals. Also, if you are kind of an experienced sewer or maybe an intermediate sewer, what are the skills that you really find the most difficult or that changed your sewing for the better once you learned it? For me, finishing seams was a game changer. How to take the raw edges on the inside of a pair of pants and finish them so that they don't fray, like they're not raw edges anymore. To me, that changed the entire look of my garments, I feel like. And it does. It takes it from, hey, this is homemade to, hey, this is handmade. And I feel like there's a difference between handmade and homemade, if you know what I mean. There's not, but the connotation for some folks is different. And beyond all that, how are we doing? How are we feeling? It's 2026. I feel like January has been 300 days long, not in a great way. I feel like it's been a little rough. What are we doing to keep ourselves grounded? What are we doing to keep ourselves happy? Because I do think it is important to maintain some happiness. I also think it's okay to be angry. I think it's okay to be sad. But I do think we need to pepper in some happiness. Because if we don't, what's the point? And I mean that in a very existential way. What's the point of anything that we're doing if there is no happiness? I have made it to my opening. I've gone all the way around and I have my border. Before I take my needle out, I am going to just secure him up here because I have tons of thread left. I'm going to fill this up with rice and maybe a little bit of lavender if that's your thing. And then I'm going to just continue sewing this guy closed. Let's test it out and see how well it works. About a minute in the microwave should be perfect. If you've never made these before, they are amazing in the middle of winter when your house is just a few degrees too cold to be comfortable. I like to put them on my chest or in my little kangaroo pouch of my hoodies. They're perfect. And I'm a big fan of the lavender, but I know some people are either allergic, just doesn't work for them, but I do think you can put a couple of drops of essential oil on the rice as well so that you get whatever scent makes you happy. Word of warning, don't overheat it because the rice will burn and it might burn your skin. And I don't want you guys to burn your skin. That is not fun. A good side is because you made it, when the rice starts to break down and every time you heat it up, it does kind of smell like burning. You just undo that opening, take the old rice out, put new rice in, and you're back in business. So if this was your first official sewing project, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you turned out something that is actually useful. Make these much smaller, like about this size, and you can put them in mittens. Amazing. Make it a little bit bigger and you have something that's a couple of pounds, and that heat and the weight, Let me know what other beginner sewing skills you would like to learn or that you think everybody needs to know. Put that stuff down in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. You can give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it, because you made it this long. You have earned that right. And don't forget to subscribe because I put out these kind of videos pretty frequently. That's it for now, and I will see you guys next time.